Attention passionate Green Bay Packers fans. Latest news. Something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Green Bay Packers' path to another Super Bowl run. A power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Green Bay Packers fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Green Bay Packers fans. Let's get to the news now. Guys, if you've been paying attention to the NFL landscape lately, you know that things are heating up in the NFC North. And one of the biggest stories right now centers around the potential blockbuster trade that could reshape the division and, quite possibly, the entire conference. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers, a team that's been quietly building momentum with Jordan Love at the helm, and a division rival, the Cincinnati Bengals, who are facing some serious cap challenges and strategic decisions that could lead to a seismic shift in player rosters. And no, I'm not just talking about rumors. This is something that insiders like Adam Schefter have been hinting at. And the implications are huge for both teams. But especially for the Packers, who are looking to make a real push for another Super Bowl appearance. Let's start by setting the scene. The Bengals, currently sitting at 3-4, are in a bit of a rebuild mode. Even though they're still trying to contend, their offense isn't firing on all cylinders right now, ranking 22nd in the league with just over 20 points per game, which isn't exactly what you'd call explosive. They're facing some tough decisions, especially on the offensive line, which has been leaking yards and sacks at a pretty alarming rate. About 2.8 sacks per game, if you're wondering. And with Joe Burrow still recovering from that shoulder injury, missing 2 games so far, Cincinnati's management is feeling the pressure. They've got a cap space of around $9.8 million, which isn't much when you're trying to extend contracts or make significant upgrades, especially on a team that's trying to stay competitive. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Schefter's sources indicate that the Bengals are considering trading Jamar Chase, their star wide receiver and a true game-changer, for a first-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. Yes, you heard that right. The Bengals are weighing this move heavily because they're prioritizing a rebuild, especially after some recent struggles from Burrow, who's been dealing with that shoulder injury and hasn't quite looked like himself. They're also quite skeptical about their current wide receiver duo, which includes T. Higgins, who's been a reliable target but perhaps not enough to carry the entire offense. Cincinnati's front office is clearly thinking long-term. They see Chase, who was a 5th overall pick in 2021, as a player with all-pro potential, a guy who's amassed over 200 yards receiving, 42 touchdowns, and averages nearly 14 yards per reception. That kind of explosive playmaker can change games in an instant, especially in the vertical passing game. But why would the Bengals trade Chase now? Well, the answer lies in their cap situation and strategic priorities. They have around $9.8 million in cap space, which is tight, especially when trying to extend Joe Burrow's contract, something that's coming up soon. And they want to make sure they can keep their franchise quarterback happy and protected. Plus, their defense currently ranks 24th in EPA per rush. And their offensive line is leaking yards, allowing 148 rushing yards per game. That's not a recipe for sustained success, especially when trying to contend in a division with teams like the Baltimore Ravens and Cleveland Browns, who are known for their physical running game. Cincinnati's head coach Zach Taylor is focusing on youth and rebuilding that offensive line. But the reality is they're in a bit of a tight spot financially. The trade of Chase could free up some cap space, roughly $22 million, and provide flexibility to improve other areas, like the offensive line, or even bolster the defense. Meanwhile, the Green Bay Packers, sitting comfortably at 5-2, are watching this scenario unfold with keen interest after losing Jayden Reed to injury. He's out for about 4 weeks with a sprained ankle. The team has been looking for that explosive playmaker on the outside who can stretch the field and create big plays. Enter Jamar Chase. If the Packers manage to pull off this trade, it could be a game changer for their offense, which already ranks 12th in passing yards per game, averaging around 248 yards. But with Chase, that number could skyrocket. Why? Because Chase isn't just any receiver. He's an elite separator, a true deep threat who can turn short passes into massive gains, much like Stephon Diggs did for the Bills in 2023, boosting their aerial attack by over 190 yards per game. Chase's ability to create separation deep down the field is one of his biggest strengths. His 13.8 yards per reception over his career, combined with his 342 yards after catch so far in 2025, shows he's not just a burner. He's a complete receiver who can make defenders miss and rack up yards after the catch. His performance this season, with 58 catches, 812 yards, and 7 touchdowns, has been impressive, especially considering he's been dealing with injuries. His top-tier PFF grade of 91. 2 on return plays against the Ravens highlights his consistency and elite talent. The Packers, with Jordan Love throwing the ball, could really benefit from that vertical threat, especially since they're already seeing improvements in their passing game, with Watson emerging as a reliable target with over 600 yards and 5 touchdowns on the season. And let's not forget, adding Chase could be the missing piece that catapults the Packers into a different stratosphere. Imagine a vertical passing game that can stretch defenses and force zone coverage to break down, creating mismatches and big play opportunities. That's exactly what Chase can bring to Green Bay. It's similar to what we saw with Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins this season. The Packers could see their chances of making a deep playoff run increase dramatically. Statistically, a trade like this could boost their Super Bowl odds from +200 to +800, making them one of the favorites in the NFC and giving them that X factor. An elite vertical threat that defenses simply can't stop. Now, you might be wondering about the broader implications. The NFL trade deadline is approaching on November 4th, and both teams are under pressure to make moves. Cincinnati's willingness to trade Chase is driven by their assessment that they might not be contenders this year, especially with the odds of winning a Super Bowl at +120,000. They're focusing on their long-term rebuild, prioritizing youth and cap flexibility. On the other hand, the Packers, who are looking to capitalize on their current momentum, see Chase as a catalyst to push even further into the postseason. The combination of Jordan Love's development and Chase's explosive ability could be exactly what takes Green Bay to the next level, potentially even making them favorites in the NFC, especially if they can add that vertical X factor. So, what's the final take here? Well, if this trade happens, it could truly be a game changer. It would mean Green Bay is making a bold move to solidify their status as a playoff contender and possibly even a Super Bowl favorite. For the Bengals, it's a tough decision. Trading Chase might hurt their offense now but could pay off in cap flexibility and draft capital. For the future, the dynamics of the NFL are always shifting, and this potential deal could be the domino that sparks a whole new chapter for both teams. And now, Green Bay Packers fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think the Packers should go all in and trade for Chase? How do you see him fitting into the offense? And what impact do you think he could have in Lambeau Field? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the team. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates. So stay tuned for the latest Green Bay Packers news. We're in the middle of an exciting season, and things are only heating up. Keep supporting your Packers. Stay passionate, and let's see what the future holds. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Pack Go!